Well, Nosy put me watchdog is a watchdog. He's watching to see if the postman's turning up with my next parcel. But Hermes have delivered one today. So, a big long box. What are we going to have in that? Well, let me just chop her open and then we'll have a look. Well, we got, should be 47 lengths of Pico Code 100 nickel silver track for 64 quid. So it doesn't look to be too bad in it. All relatively straight. The odd sleeper snapped out where they've put nails in, but not too many. Nothing too tragic. Most of them are around about stock length. I missed out on a few because they made the mistake of ending all the options at the same time because they'd done multiple listings. So the time I was bidding and then coming out and then going on to the next one and bidding, and ran out of time, so I missed one. But that's 4 more packs. I had some concrete sleeper one as well, which I did get outbid on that one. But whoever got it got pretty well. I think it was about £40, but this lot cost 64 quid, which is still well under the cheapest you can buy a new pack for. And I don't think I did mention it on a previous one. I did buy a new pack, or it was advertised as a new pack. It was old stock that they'd obviously supposedly bought for a layout that never happened. And I did basically pay with the postage as much as a new box would have cost in a shop, about £85 I think it was. And I got it and I opened it up, expecting it to be new old stock, you know, and I just counted through and there wasn't 25 lengths in there, there was 24. Not the end of the world, so I did mention it to the guy and say, well, you know, I am technically paying for 25 lengths and I've only got 24. And he was like, well, you know, it was a new pack, I've never opened it, I've never checked it. So I thought, well, I'll just have another look. So I pulled them out and they had holes in the sleepers from nails. And a couple of lengths had fish plates on them, and some of them still had the little bits of nails left in them. And I went back to him and sent them the photograph and said, oh, wait, you said this was new, not used. So then he sort of started to imply that I might be doing the old swapperoonie. And I said, you know, I paid basically new money for a new old stock. If I wanted to buy new, I could have gone to the shop and bought new. I didn't begrudge paying, it was in good nick, but you know, I paid new money for new stock. So he wasn't forthcoming with a discount or anything to alleviate, so I sent it back and, you know, gave him a negative feedback for basically whether it was a genuine mistake or not, but he didn't want to admit it. So, you know, I thought, sod it, I'm sending it back. I'm not paying full whack for stuff that's not as advertised. So I did manage after that. I bought some more. I actually bought 50 or 60 lengths for 100 quid. £110, something like that with shipping. And then this lot come up. So I've got that lot as well. So I have got, my doggy gets out of the way, my little secret stash in here, not that you can see much. The thingy works. I've got boxes all the way in there, new and used, and then sort of all the random odd bits up there, and 2 packs of brass Fleischmann track up there. And they actually, well, one of them packs, when you buy a Fleischmann, I mean, there's stuff, I mean, this is old brass stuff, but they actually did give you fish plates, which you'd think Pico could stretch to that, because a pack of 20 don't go very far. So yeah, we're getting to around about 1500 foot of track for the layout. I am planning on doing quite an extensive, you know, subterranean or sub-level fiddle staging yard to accommodate the rolling stock. I might have gone over what I need now, so I'm not probably going to go too mad on anything further. Up here I've got somewhere in here, I think it's behind there, behind the locos, there's a box full of points. Most of them are electro frog mediums, because they're bloody expensive. I mean, if I was to honestly, I mean, I know I've spent a bit on locos just recently because I had my holiday pay come in. But if I was starting from scratch, well, I wouldn't be, because I would just, you know, the hobby's too expensive, you know, even before Bachmann and Hornby jumped on the, oh, let's exercise an extra profit increase by claiming COVID's put our prices up even further than it actually has. So yeah, this is the alternative route, but I mean, you know, back when Pico was shut, people were paying ludicrous amounts of money for track. They were even buying old shit steel stuff because they were thinking, well, I'll get me layout done and then I'll rip it up and buy the stuff when it comes back in stock. I mean, alright, I haven't got a layout to build. I can luckily sit and bide my time. But Pico have just come out with a new robotic machine to make this stuff. I saw it on their YouTube channel, 900 packs a month to keep up with demand. 900, so I suppose, you know, it could probably even be pushed more. The nickel track comes on a roll and is just obviously cut by the machine as it assembles it. But I would have thought, you know, Siemens, we paid for that machine with the increase price. I mean, before COVID you could buy new track for £74. Now you're lucky if you can find a retailer doing it for under 90. I'd have thought they could have given us a pat on the back and you know, this machine's going to be working for years, not months, so it's going to pay for itself in the long run. Plus presumably they're probably even using the old one. They could have bloody knocked the price down and said thank you for supporting us and making us very wealthy and being able to buy a new machine. Here's a discount on our track products. But no, it's always the oh well, this has gone up, that's gone up, so everything else is going up. What do you say, Mr. Loki? He needs a brush. He's coming on to molt. Yeah, that's my little rant. Well, there you go. I'm a tease, aren't I? Wow. You don't get much newer than that, do you? Still in the toilet paper. Might come in handy if this COVID thing goes on much longer. We might have another TP shortage. I have got a load of these little elusive blighters that are not in stock anywhere unless you want to pay silly ransom Dick Turpin highway robbery prices from Olivia Trains and other unscrupulous model shops. But even they haven't got any, I don't think. But I weren't going to pay their prices even if they did. But a little bit of perseverance, many hours wasting my time on Google search and other such places, I actually returned a dividend of these. If you notice, I think it's my last video or the next one to go up after this one, or before this one, I may have mentioned I tracked down the Class 20 at a little model shop for old stock, old price. Well, he had these as well, except he did, but he didn't. It showed they're in stock until you go to the checkout, and then it was insufficient quantity. So I gave up. Thought, no, it's just an admin error. Bought the engine. He emailed me and said, can you let me know it arrives okay? So I did, and I just mentioned, yeah, turn up fine, mate, thanks. By the way, it's showing on your site as in stock, but you haven't. Here these. Give him the old Bachmann part number. He comes back and says, yeah, I think my assistant says we've got 10. How many do you want? And I said, well, what is the right price? Then he came back to me and he said, I've got 15. And I thought, whoa, I don't really want 15, that's silly, but if I ever want more, I just ain't going to get them. So I bought the 15. The only reason I wanted them is because BIS, well, as it was back then, I used to, probably a tale for another day, or my little camping excurts when we were DIY army cadets. We didn't go out enough on exercise, so we used to go out on our own. And we used to camp and intrude upon a certain quarry's place and steal their Union Jacks. Not wishing to want any more incriminating evidence upon myself, yes, so I'm sort of reliving a little bit of history, part of my sort of era of 80s, 90s, before they went to PGAs. They had these, apologies for the light reflecting in the plastic. So yeah, I wanted to make a train up of sand for the yard in the station of New Lynn, which is obviously a wordplay on my hometown of Kings Lynn, hence my Network Southeast Class 47, which is named by the of the town. So we're going to do a representation of the railway as it was, with a little bit of modeller's license. Hence I'm not calling it the actual town name. So I needed some of these. Well, Chop Suey Express has delivered again. Not quite sure what it all is. I don't think it's all railway related, but we'll have a look. Be back with you shortly. Say hello to my little friend. A static gas a static grass generator in the making. Well, not actually, it's going to be an upgrade for one I've got, although it's a little bit bigger than I planned, but we'll see if it works. If not, I may just wire it up to the back of the van. Enlighten some pikeys when they try and thieve anything. Next on the list is some, when it focuses, knuckle couplings, American style ones for my HO freight cars and such like. They've got those horrible little crappy bachmann couplings, so I'm going to see if I can put these ones on which are more like the KD knuckle couplings. Can't see them very well in the bag with the light reflecting. Next on the list was a micro saw blade. It was actually a pair, but it wasn't a lot dearer to get a scalpel handle with it. You do have to do it up fairly tightly to get it to grip the blade. No, I can't speak today. And the other ones I've got were cheap, real cheap crap ones with a plastic ferrule here, so you know, when you tune them up, the thread goes and they don't tighten up and they slip out, where these metal ones are better. I have bought a bolt pack off Amazon, which I'll show at a later, more convenient date. Next I bagged another lot of those little hooky tree armatures. And the ones with the little hooks on the end, so it's quite good for gripping the foliage. And these are little bottles. Seems quite a very viscous material. Haven't played with it yet, but they are the UV glue. You can get those little plastic pens, can't you, with a LED, UV LED in one end and a small applicator in the other end. Obviously ain't going to do a lot of repairs, so I thought I'd give it a try. These weren't very dear. And I thought, well, I'll buy 2 bottles because you're only paying like 80 pence plus the shipping. So you had options on getting ones with LEDs, but I've already got a LED torch or UV torch. So I bought a couple of those just to see what it's like. Is it any good, or is it a load of crap, or is this formula going to be crap? So I'm going to give it a go, see if it's any good. Might be useful on the models, or with it being UV, you could obviously use it as a filler or something and blast it with a bit of light and sand it down, and then just dib a bit more in and cure it with a UV light and sand it down. So I thought it might be useful for a quick way of repairing or filling things, or making a filling a void that you don't want there. So I'll buy a couple of these to see what they're like. Obviously in a black bottle, so natural light doesn't set them up and cure them off. That's it for this week on more crap from China. So here's a quick look at these couplings. I think they're a knockoff version of the Easy coupling. Basically they look a bit like a KD. Got the little spring in them and a loop underarm which just opens them up on that spring. They are magnetic, so you can use them with a magnetic coupling decouplers. And they just got a little hole in them, which is a locating leg in the underbody of the wagon that you put them in. And then the two little whiskers act as a spring in the little pocket. And then a little plastic cap goes over the top of that to hold it in place. Now one of them I've got is missing that cap. So I think I might have to make something up out of a bit of evergreen channel or something to hold it in and then just glue it in place. And the others might require some modifications to see if these will go in, or if not I'll just have to make a converter wagon that will have this type coupling one side and the other on the other end. But they were about 10 quid ish, about $8, was it? No, a bit more, wasn't it? $12, something like that, for 10. Don't know whether that's an intentional couple of spare springs or whether someone else is going to get a couple where the springs have fell off. You can buy them as a spare part anyway, but I suppose for modern rolling stock they are a little bit more realistic. Obviously for steam era they're not, but I have with the other ones, they do uncouple. There's a couple, they are the sort of same pattern, but because they're not quite the same they don't sit right, and as soon as you pull them, or if there's any movement with the wagons, they just uncouple all the time. So I want to try and sort of harmonise the HO US stuff anyway that has this type of fitting in it. I might require maybe a screw and a washer and drill into the underbody, or a nut and bolt if it goes on the actual bogie wagon. But yeah, they should pity they're not NEM pocket actually, but I couldn't find any they sell on there that are NEM pocket. There was another variation on this that didn't have the whiskers on them, act as a spring, but they were actually more money than these ones. But we will see. But for now, obviously, they'll just get bagged up and put in my spares box until we've actually got a layout and can play around on the bench, retrofitting US rolling stock with US style couplings instead of the god awful things they got on them now.